The following is KPB MediaWorks production.
Choose your fighter.
Yo, and we're on. Welcome to another episode of KPBCast, guys. With me today, we have one of the stalwarts in New York City for Dragonball Fighters and anything in general. It's Posy. How the heck are you, man?
I'm doing swell, Rafael. Stalwarts. That's a nice word. That's a very
There
nice
you
word.
go. So you know what? I gotta ask something, man. You know, you got all your boys from the Hawk, House of Chaos.
Nah,
You know,
never heard that.
you got all your boys, and you decided to put something called the Demonic Eight. How do you now break people's hearts? You know, by not including them in that tournament. Like, what's the process of picking the certain, the exact eight? You know?
Well, luckily what was special about Demonic Gate, what was tough about Demonic Gate was that it was hosted during the pandemic.
Yeah.
And it could have gotten a horrible response because it was hosted during the pandemic, and I could have gotten like a horrible response just because I have 8 people in my house. Oh my God, they're not masked. They're not this. Jeez, they're not vaccinated. Luckily, it was 2020, and people were just happy to see you offline. So to pick the eight, I could just remember that the day that I had Ray Ray over. I'm pretty sure you're aware of Ray Ray, Marvel 3
Yep.
player.
hmm
I had Ray Ray and
He's a
Posy.
stand-up comedian, isn't he?
These days, yeah, he dwells in that world, which is so dope of him. Very very talented person overall. A good friend of mine too. We was just over. We was playing Dragon Ball, and I have a pretty spacious living room. A very spacious living room. If you've seen the Hawk, if you've seen the HOC, the House of Chaos, Bum gets all his work done, and shouts to Bum in the living room. You know,
Yes, he does.
he gets everything done in the living room. And at that time, I had people in and out, pulling up for sessions like I would pull. So Prodigy, shouts to Prodigy, formerly KPB as well. I'm aware.
Yeah, top eight at Marvel 3. Which Evo was it? 20.
2017 Winter Side, one of my
Yes,
favorite
sir.
players of all time. Actually, shouts to
hmm
Hassan. I would have Dragon God over, I would have Meezy over, Nitro. I used to have some of my boys over even during the pandemic, right? But only 2 to 3 people. So there was this one day, I gotta have like a pretty spacious living room, and I have a pretty spacious kitchen. And me and Ray just looked at it, and I just looked at Ray, yo, bro, how you feel about a bracket? At first, it was supposed to be 16 people, and then Ray was like, no, you about to get back, you about to get canceled. Let's make it 8. and
Yeah, everybody gets a hold of that on Twitter, and
so
there's like, oh, look at that, he's putting the community at risk.
yep. So I was like, all right, cool. So let's make it 8 people. So off the rip, the original list actually, because I think the Monica ended up being Jersey Sage, Meezy, Prodigy, Dragon God, Pred, Nitro, and I think June and Jeter and 40 thing. Pardon me. That was the original 8, but a couple people canceled and stuff of that nature. And oh, I'm sorry, Scammy. Scammy was supposed to be part of that 8. Scammy was supposed to be part of that 8. Eventually, the final list ended up being Jersey Sage. He replaced June. Meezy replaced Scamby. 40 thing didn't make it that day, so then Cali Mac replaced 40, and then the Monica ended up being how it was. There was definitely a couple heartbreaks, but it was easy. Some people didn't want to come outside. Some people didn't want to come outside and I guess risk COVID and stuff of that nature. So
Well,
the
no,
eight,
man, that's obviously that's been a very big subject in the last 2 years. I'm sure
definitely,
Bum, like you say, he does it in his living room. He's had to
yeah,
tune it down quite a lot. Before all these mandates and everything else and the vaccinations. I'm sure he's started it up again. I should be
yeah,
following him a little bit more often, but I've just been so busy. But I know with everything now, it's a little bit more relaxed. Yeah, it was tough for everybody, and you learn firsthand. It's like, well, you know what, you got cancellations because some people were completely like, they were what's the word? They were paranoid about this thing, and can you
definitely
blame them?
paranoid, man. Paranoid, and some of them kind of affect their like personal lives. That's why the final 8 that I ended up going with were just 8 people that I know are comfortable with coming to my house first and foremost, because they've been to my house at least during the pandemic, and they were scared. Of course, we were all weary of the part of the pandemic and of COVID, but there was 8 guys that I know. All right, they're not gonna feel some type of way. They'll feel safe here. and to feel comfortable to come here. So that was just I needed to find 8 people that would feel comfortable. Luckily I
Is,
didn't break too many hearts because some people wasn't comfortable with coming outside. So I think I made the right decision.
are those 8 guys? Is it because they just needed to do something offline? Did they get tired of the online?
Oh, first I think that's definitely the first. Ah man, I remember when I had the 8 official invitees. You should have seen how they were training, man. Maybe that's not how you train for Evo, but I just know they were playing every day. For example, Ray Ray. He doesn't play Dragon Ball every day, man. When me and Ray Ray started hanging out during the summer, he started. I want to say I feel very proud. I feel like I had him playing Dragon Ball the longest, and for him to do Demonic 8, he'll definitely won't do it now. But for him to do it during that time, that meant a lot to me. The way he practiced, the way he trained for it was insane. He had a session with Sonic Fox before Demonic 8. Like that's how like
Right.
I think if you do that, it's because you really want to win, right?
Well, training with Fox, sure.
When you call upon the fox them to make sure you're ready for a bracket, that makes you smile, man. It's like, all right, guys are taking this serious. You got Lincoln and Prod, you're looking up to have sessions. I had like 2-3 sessions where I had like all of them over pretty much. So like that was cool, man. You had Jersey Sage crashing one night in my crib, right? And then the
Yeah.
next night he went to Ray's house to have that Sonic Fox session. So it was just like it was godlike. He didn't even go home to Jersey that night. He didn't go home to Jersey for 2 days. So like the preparation that these guys took to actually get ready for this bracket was godlike. It was fine.
And was that your first time ever putting a little bit, a little tournament, a little event together? And if it was, share some of your experiences with us, like first timer.
Well, I guess one is easier just because you're at home. I can understand why Bum has that comfort. I mean, it's so easy. The most you gotta do when you're preparing, like, say you're hosting the event, right? Such as Demonic. I hosted it in my house, right? I just had to clean my crib. As a normal human being, you should clean your crib.
Yes.
You feel me?
Has the vacuum cleaner, the broom,
you
Windex
know,
the windows.
all that good stuff. And and then just set up your computer in the living room. Bow. It's really easy transitions, man. It's not nothing in this world. But I know if you go the venue route, man, you gotta take a taxi with that PC. You gotta make sure your wires are good before you set up tournaments. A lot of extra preparations. Even though it was the same thing here, but I did it all from the comfort of my home, right? I just had to prepare my home for it.
And
And
not to mention, there was a lot of your boys as well, so you knew
oh,
nothing,
those are my
nothing
bros.
stupid was gonna happen, right?
No, no, of course not. I ain't have no strangers in the crib. It was invitational for a reason. No, it was an invitational. Those are some of my closest friends here in the FGC so far, and I knew I could trust I knew I could trust everyone that was in my house that day.
Who
So
ended up winning that again?
Nitro, of course. Shout out to Nitro.
How long did how long did it take, man? Did you guys just stop following the rules and say, "Ah, screw it, man. Let's just crack out."
So one of the things was it was funny, man. I tried to set up so where it would be hard for Nitro and Pred to win, but the fate of the universe didn't work out that way. So one of the interesting things about the Demonic Gate, right? There was no seating. Do you want to know how the seating was done?
Well, yeah, let's share it, man. I'm already laughing.
Alright, so I grabbed a hat. I took like 8 pieces of paper, literally. I think I wrote the numbers of the seating, and I threw them in a hat and I shuffled it.
Yeah.
Wherever number you got, that's your first round opponent. That was the seating of Demonic Gate. It was God.
Right.
I loved it. I loved every second of it.
You want to
And
know
then
something funny? I
What's up?
actually I did a pool tournament. I believe it was in May of this year. Yeah, up in Rockland County where I play pool. And
Yeah.
I literally did the same thing because that's the first time I ever did a pool tournament.
Yeah.
So the owner had a bunch of Uno cards, and she's like, "Yo, just see them like this, completely blind." I got lucky because some people that came from Long Island, they didn't have to play each other. So I'm like, "Well, I dodged that bullet."
Yo, the way, man, Nitro and Pred dodged that bullet, man, because you had Nitro getting the 3rd seed. No, I think Nitro was the 3rd and 6th match, and then Pred was like one of the 4-5 matches or the 2s and 7 matches. I was so pissed off. I was like, I did this so you guys could like. Unfortunately, Fate would make y'all play either first or second round. They wasn't gonna play each other until fight winners final. So it's like, all right, there goes my plan. Because I
Hey
don't know if
guys,
there's
and
been a
by the
two
way,
winners.
anybody listening to this, Nitro, trust me, we did. He did not rig the brackets. Okay.
Nah, man, trust me. In a perfect world, I would have loved them to play first round, and that was my plan. But Fate of the Universe was like, nope, not today, Satan. Not today. You guys will play your winners finals and grand finals like usual programming. So yeah, but no, I was so happy with the event, man. So it was successful.
Hey
It,
man, let's
it
talk
brought,
about you for a second. How long have you been inside the scene, or better yet, how long have you been doing gaming?
so FGC, I started my since we're about to be in 2021. Is that considered like 4 year anniversary, 3 year anniversary?
Well, you know what? Let's exclude the FGC for now, man. What about you? Like you yourself, like how long have you
Oh,
been gaming?
oh, I've been gaming for as long as I can remember, man. Maybe since I was 5. Especially with fighting games. Fighting games has always been my favorite genre. I just never knew there was a competitive scene all these years. It's so godlike that there's a competitive scene. It's so such a cool aspect. That's what makes fighting games even cooler, I think. The
Of
fact
course,
that
of
there's an
course.
FGC. But
Why
like
did why were fighting games your why did they call you the most over? I mean, obviously you're a lot younger than than a lot of people. So around
I
that
mean,
time,
no,
I mean, Street Fighter
I'm,
4,
I'm
Street Fighter
29. I'm old
5.
as shit, man. Oh,
Okay,
pardon
fair
my pardon
enough.
my French.
Um,
Am I allowed to curse?
yeah, of course you are, man. It's
Oh,
the
okay.
internet. Who cares, right?
That's good to know that. But you'd be surprised. So like, I'm 29 years old. I grew up on Tekken 2. Tekken 2 was like my first fighting game where I was like sitting down
Wow. And you know
and
what? I ain't gonna lie. That caught me by surprise. You look way younger than your age shows, man.
I try to age well, man. Thank you. You should see my left side of my head, man. I got mad white hands though. Don't let it fool you. About me putting filters and stuff like that when I'm on
So,
commentating.
did you experience the end of the arcade era, or was that long gone by then?
Man, I hated mommy. She never used to let me. I used to have an arcade right around the corner, and I knew it had Marvel vs. Capcom 2, or Marvel
Right.
vs. Capcom. But I was young. I was little. She would never really let me go over there. But that arcade spot was pretty cool. I don't remember it. I just remember my brothers going over there and getting just hot dogs and some slushies. And
Right.
don't bring me home a hot dog and a slushie. So like I've always admired the arcade era. I wish I was more deep and involved in it. But you're a kid. So and there's no money either, man. Sometimes
of,
there's no quarters.
of course, all the quarters are for laundry, right? For mom.
Unfortunately, she never used to let me take that little course. I could play X-Men versus Street Fighter side, man. Never.
So, what is it about fighting games that is your favorite genre? I mean,
um,
considering that the era, so many different games out. Call of Duty was tops and everything. You say you started with Tekken 2, so
yeah.
I mean, obviously, first-person shooters aren't exactly what they are now. So, take us deep into that, man. Well, like, why is that genre your love? Why do you love them so much?
It's so funny, man. I think personally, first is visual. Oddly enough, right? So pardon. So Tekken 2 is like the first fighting game I want to say I truly played because I was a kid. I understood it. And I knew how to actually do combos and stuff of that nature. But
Hmm.
this goes back to when I was like 3, 4 years old. And I know it's crazy. I can't remember just going that back. But, I had a cousin that just had a Sega and a Super Nintendo, which was
Well,
godlike.
instant jealousy, right?
It's a giant. He never used to let me touch it, man. Horrible cousin. But nonetheless, I just remember like the visual of it. Like, I could take you back to Mortal Kombat, right? Like Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter, like my two earliest games I remember. The sound of a Hadouken. Like for me as a kid, I was like, "Holy cow, a Hadouken!" And he's doing a blast, like something as simple as that. So like I got attracted to that, and then the way they look, like I love the
This
ninjas
has
in Mortal
been
Kombat.
a
So like
Right, right.
Media
that's what
Works
attracted me, right?
production.
So like you see Scorpion, he's dressed in yellow. See Sub-Zero dressed in blue, right? It's so simple, but that alone attracted me, and there was just something about I don't know, man. Like for Super Nintendo, if you think about it, right, that seemed like the more like advanced type of video games that were being made at the time. If you really think about it, right? Like you have two
Right, right.
patents and they're fighting each other. It seemed almost like advanced compared to if you come down with some Super Nintendo games, it's RPG. Like I can't really explain it, but like it just seemed more like real
Realistic.
life, realistic. Yeah, I think that aspect really drew me to it.
Now, it's funny you say that. You heard Hadouken for Super Nintendo summoning a guy that I had here before.
Yeah.
He grew up hardcore in the arcade scene, and for him, he'll tell you it was a lot of the music. Because if you ever experience any of those machines, especially gaming centers,
Yeah.
like, those machines were like, they have boom boxes on them, just to purposely have
So
loud
fire.
sounds to draw you to them. But like you said, for you it was at home at our on a TV screen, listening to these characters say what they say and look how they look. And by the way, I know it's become a joke, but you're absolutely right, man. All them ninja colors, I know it's a joke now. Oh, the colors of the rainbow, but yeah, they were
It
freaking
was so
cool.
cool.
I don't
It was
care
so
how
cool.
freaking I don't care if they were clones. Come on, man. That thing was beyond cool. I don't care
That
I don't
that
care
was
what
cool.
anybody says.
You had 6 different ninjas, man. You had Brain, you had Ermac, you had Noob Saibot, you had Reptile. Reptile was cool. And then their poses, it was just everything about it. Then you're right, the music was another aspect, but especially for Street Fighter. You hear Ken's theme, you hear Guile's theme,
That's
when the
right.
military. You feel me? Like all that was so cool as a kid. I'm like, wow, this is godlike. But I was a kid. Oh, and Killer Instincts. My earliest memories, I can remember for some reason, like my brother actually buying the game that day,
Yeah.
getting that game. So like those 3 games are like the earliest memories when it comes to fighting games, and like that's why I just knew I was drawn to it. But then once Tekken 2 came out, my brother got the PlayStation for his birthday. That I
That's
remember.
when everything changed, huh?
That's why everything changed, man. And we had 2 games. One of them came with it. Apparently, it was Jet Moto. Jet Moto used to come with the PlayStation. If you bought PlayStation during the 90s, you would get Jet Moto with it.
Yeah, I remember that game very well.
You get Jet Moto, and then my pop said, "Let me buy Tekken 2." And bro, it changed that whole house. It changed everything. I can remember my brother's very first run because he picked June. No, that's the first character on the screen. He said, "Screw, I'm gonna pick June,"
Yeah.
and he's running it. And he's never played a game, so he's just doing his best. And then we get to Kasuya. Dude, I want to say it took 30 minutes to finally beat him. It may have taken longer. I was a kid. But God, I remember I was just watching. I was like, yo, this guy right here, like Kasuya was the shit. With
He's
that godlike music in the background, I was like, oh, you're cool. And then
the
he turns
boss.
into, and then he turns into a devil once you beat him. He's the true boss battle, by the way.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Because my brother was able to beat the devil in 15 minutes. But Kasuya? Oh, man. I just remember those 10-hit combos that punch to the gut. And then he spins on you. Bow. As ooh.
Yeah, that's right. The little sweep on the floor, like with his legs sticking out, he just does like a couple of 360s and boom, the uppercut.
The uppercut. Oh, my God. That was so godlike. So we got into that. And, I was able to play every day. My pops was very good at that game. I couldn't beat that, man. And the funny thing is that he had a very good Ganryu and a
Yeah.
Juan Jinrei. Me and my brothers, we're playing top tiers. We're picking Bruce Irvins, Beck Doosan's, Louis Charlans, and the Mishimas, plus the devil. Now,
Dude,
my
that's
pops,
awesome to hear, man. I mean, yeah, like how many siblings you got?
I got, it's my sister and my 2 brothers. Yeah. So it's
So I take it maybe your 2 brothers and including your pops, were they the ones that you mainly gamed with before you found the FGC?
oh, hell yeah. Yeah, definitely. Eventually I have a dying point, with gaming, but, we'll get to there. But,
Of
like,
course, of course.
it starts with them, because through Tekken and like we just I got good at it, kind of. I think I was good at it. For 5 years old, I think I'm godlike at the time because I always had a good leash on. To this day, when they say like there's a legacy character,
Yes.
I've been at least okay to good with that character for 20 years plus. I'll probably get smoked by all the top Tekken players, but like that, he'll never leave my
Yeah,
my
whenever you
muscle
pick up the
memory.
controller and you select him, you just, it's different, right?
The muscle memory is godlike. It hasn't left. He's who I've been playing for 20 years, and then I had a sick Back Dusan. But Back Dusan was kind of easy. You know what I
How
mean?
important is it, man, to have siblings and in this case a father who shared the love of gaming?
So it's funny, that was the only game I can remember really playing with my pops. My pops wasn't that big of a gamer, right? But he bought Tekken 2. He had fun with it. But him kind of like setting it off, kind of like starting it off. It trickled down to my 2 other brothers. And my oldest brother was the one. He liked and loved fighting games. I don't think he loved it more than me. obviously, because I ended up doing this. And but he really liked this. So from Tekken 2, we move on to X1 versus Street Fighter.
Oh yeah.
We were able to get our hands on X1 versus Street Fighter. And man, that game changed everything. That's when I got blisters. I remember getting blisters as a kid. So I'll tell you a funny story. When I joined the FGC scene, if you look up some of my early YouTube matches in the house, I used to play with a thumb. Anytime I play like an X1 versus Street Fighter, like a Marvel S game, I used to
Yes.
play with a shirt. I used to play with my shirt over the thumb, so I won't get blisters.
Right, right.
That comes from that. When I was 6 years old, I used to get these crazy blisters because I'm trying to make sure I get these supers, man. Trying to make sure I'm trying, you know, royal flush these guys. You feel me?
Dude, when
Okay.
that game came out, man, oh my
Oh
god.
my god.
First of all, the epic handshake between Cyclops and Ryu, on the
It's
title
still
screen.
iconic to this day, I think.
It's mad historic, right? It's like the most
Indeed
awesome
historic.
thing ever. They shake hands and then the graphics in the ground and the background just blow up.
Yeah, man. Oh man. I played Charlie and Gambit. That was always my favorite team in that game. Charlie
Dude,
and
I
Gambit.
like who the heck did I play? I mean, I played anybody in that game, and I've spent so much money on those versus games, especially that one. 'Cause, I mean, when it came out, it's like, wait, what? I mean, I know Marvel Superheroes came out, which, by the way, that game recently turned. What was it? I think I saw like 25 years old. That game turned. The
25
first
years
Marvel
old,
Superheroes.
Nice.
And then you
nice.
have the X-Men and just Street
Except
Fighter
for
and
Street
the
Fighter,
way
I
it
know
was
it's 25.
animated.
Yeah, yo,
Yeah.
oh my god.
You know what it was? It was the way it was animated. It seemed like the cartoon came to life. You know what I'm saying?
I think about it, that's the first game that really was able to, incorporate Gambit.
Yes.
Gambit. That's Gambits, that's Rogues, and I forgot who else's debut. But
I
that's
believe
Gambit and
Storm.
That was Storm's debut, really.
I think it
I think
was?
so. I think you're right. Because I don't think she was in the superheroes.
No, because I know Psylocke was in Marvel Superheroes, and I know Magneto was as well. I mean, it was a small roster, but not many X-Men characters, if I remember correctly. But regardless, man, awesome game. Awesome game.
Awesome game. I love it, man.
Yeah,
Anytime I
man,
get to
but
revisit.
yeah, continue on with, those siblings and father, how important it is, man.
Yeah, so like it starts with that. I went from Tekken 2 to X vs Street Fighter. And then after X vs Street Fighter, I'm like, yeah, every video game I'm gonna buy is gonna be a fighting game. So my brothers hated that. They hated that. They could hold that, but they hated that. Cause man, there was times we could have chose GTA over a fighting game, but since it was my choice, I'd be like, nah, give me Marvel Capcom 2.
What happened, man? You got the better grades in school, so you got to choose?
Oh, no, I was just the youngest.
El Chiquito.
El Chiquito, man. We talk about grades, man. Trust me, I wasn't there. In that department, they had it. My brothers were smarter. My ass
Yo, that's
was not
not
good.
funny, man.
I was just the youngest, man. And then the fighting game tradition just kept on going, man. I was always involved in fighting games. So I think when I had the PS1, I got to play X vs Street Fighter. I had Street Fighter Alpha 3, I think, for the PS1. I remember I had some like Street Fighter limited edition that it came with 2 discs. One that
Right.
came with an unreleased version of Street Fighter 2, which was really good. I always forget that game, but I think they added to the 30-year anniversary for the Switch.
Right.
I had that, and I had Street Fighter Alpha 3. So that game, those are my earliest memories. Those are like my earliest fighting games that I remember I had for the PS1. And then we move on to the PS2, and of course Tekken follows me. That's the first game. For my 10th birthday, my pops got me the PS2, and he bought me 3 games. I think he bought me NBA. No, not NBA. Street Ball. You remember Street Ball?
You mean NBA? Street
Nah,
ball. You
nah,
mean NBA
nah.
Street?
Nah, Street Ball, man. That's when you could get little Romeo and stuff with those dudes.
Nah,
That
I
was
don't.
Master P all the way.
I don't remember that one. The only NBA game I ever remember arcadey, obviously NBA Jam, NBA Showtime,
Sure, yeah,
and during
NBA
the
Street.
PS2 era, it's like me and my brother. All we would do is just play NBA Street, like Volume 2, which was like the best basketball game ever, in my opinion.
Oh my god, yeah. Shouts to Pete Rock, man.
That's
Love
right,
that.
dude. In that game, whenever that song and what the heck was the guy's name? There was,
It felt you- it
first
felt
of all, those
euphoric.
games had like awesome soundtracks,
Definitely.
And the one song that for whatever reason always fired me up is just that Benzino song, Rock the Party. I think that was like his only good song.
There was something about I don't know. I feel like they picked the perfect song for that game. You know, Renaissance was like the perfect song. It goes back to soundtracks, right? Sometimes the soundtrack makes the game.
Yeah.
Not all the way, but like literally, a soundtrack is what keeps you there. Cause
Dude,
sometimes
you know, a lot of the guys, especially Afro Dynamic, man, if you talk to him,
yeah,
it's like, a lot of his gaming history is literally based on soundtracks. That guy, he's one of my closest friends. He's got
yeah,
an iPod, and I think, what, like 10,000 songs, I think it was, or whatever it is, and like
Jesus,
90% of them are video game soundtracks, because video game soundtracks, where the people, some people. I mean, obviously, outside the gaming community, it's like what? But man, soundtracks are awesome. Like
soundtracks are also definitely.
they don't make them like they used to anymore. There's some really good tracks, man. But during that time, Super Nintendo, PlayStation One, you know what I'm talking about.
Nah, we could go Tekken 2 and Tekken 3 got some of the best. I think emotional is passion. This might be debated by you since you are a fighting game, probably historian. I think emotion is passion because we have seen in like Tekken 2 is the greatest like stage fight song in the history of fighting games.
I don't know, man. Like there's so much for me to choose. That's an awesome song. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I've always liked the Temple song in Tekken Tag, the first one, like right before you fight Unknown, the
Yeah,
arcade
yeah, yeah.
version, not the PS2 version.
Oh, so
Uh,
you're referring to Ogre's
yeah,
theme
ogres,
in
yes.
Tekken Tag
And I
Tournament.
also loved as much as some people like
That's my
Guile's theme and
second, by the
everything.
way. I got
Yeah, oh
emotional
yes.
passion just slightly over that one, but that's my second. I think that's the second greatest fighting game stage song of all time.
And I mean, what the heck is my favorite fighting game stage song? I mean, I always loved M Bison stage in the original Street Fighter.
Oh my god, that was
And
that was
then,
no one doesn't get talk about that.
KOF in general is full of a lot of great soundtracks. So, with me, man, I would actually have to sit down and put a list together to see what it is. But yeah, man, fighting game soundtracks are freaking awesome.
They're awesome. They're awesome. So I got Tekken 2, Tekken 3, and now we move on to Tekken Tag Tournament 1. It's my first ever video game for the PS2. And oddly enough, when I got the PS2, my pops spoiled me here and there. That day he spoiled me. He got me a PS2. I think he got me Street Ball, Tekken Tag Tournament 1, and it was for the low because I had the red tape, the greatest hits.
Yeah,
So it
yeah,
was like,
yeah.
I think Tekken Tag was already out in 2000. I got that in 2002. So he got that for the low. He threw that in there. And then he caught me Bloody Roar 3. What you know about Bloody Roar?
Dude, Bloody Roar 4 is one of my favorite games.
4?
Yeah. I like 3, don't get me wrong, but there's something about 4 that I just love so much more.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, Bloody Roar, man, another one of those great lost games that people forget. Because, the
It's
fighting
fun. It's
games
fun.
in
It's
general
so
were
fun.
like in some kind of dark age before Street Fighter 4 shunned the light on it. But yeah,
Yeah.
man, a lot of great games were released during that time. I'm sure you know about Project Justice.
I feel like I've heard it, but never came across it.
Well, rival schools.
Rival schools, yeah, with Batsu and all those guys, right?
Yeah, man. Yeah. Let me ask you
I
this,
never got
man.
to play it though.
You're telling me all these great stories and everything like that, and you said it yourself earlier. You've taken it a more step than your father and your siblings. So, when did the love of fighting games or gaming in general started waning for them? Like, when did they just start? It's like, you know what, we're not, we can't concentrate so much more on this anymore. And like, did you just go off on your own? You played games at home, or did you start venturing out to see, like, hey, maybe let me make some friends and we'll play offline, or did you find the FGC right away? Take us through that.
Oh no, Ralph. If anything, I found the FGC recently. I'm kind of pretty.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty young in the FGC.
Yeah.
If you could say, I started 2018, like around this time, around November, and that's when I got into it. But my story's kind of funny, man, because for as much as I love fighting games, I think I had a drought with video games overall, though. Like
Yeah.
I definitely stopped playing video games during my early 20s, because eventually you get old, you go to college, you party
Right.
here and there, Video games kind of get stuck in the background, man. I almost didn't get the PS4. Like that's how disinterested I was. Like I ended up getting the PS3, and then it's funny. You say Street Fighter 4 kind of brought like the FGC back to life. I definitely stopped playing fighting games. I want to say what, like 2006, 2007.
Yeah.
Definitely because that's when I started venturing into Kingdom Hearts, and then 2007 to 2010, I was a Guitar Hero player, man. You could not get me to play a fighting game because, man, I was mashing buttons somewhere.
Dude.
Somewhere else. It was a Guitar Hero just took over my world, man. It was insane.
I know some people hate it, but come on, man, you can't deny that was like such a phenomenon. Those games, it's
Oh
like
my god.
people were
Rhythm games too.
legit.
You don't know
Yeah,
what it's called. You just call it Guitar. Pardon, you just call it Guitar Hero, but
yeah,
rhythm
Band
games, man.
Hero and everything like that, man. But
Mhm.
yeah, those games were a phenomenon. I mean, for the love of God, people legit took up real music classes and instruments based off of playing Guitar Hero.
And it made you want. It made me feel like, yo, bro, I think I could be nasty in the guitar. Like, you see me play Freebird, man. I could probably do this in real life, and it was cool. Oddly enough, I think another reason why I kind of like my video game love started dying was because I did do high school in Dominican Republic.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, so like I moved to DR in '07, and then I graduated 2010 and I did my whole high school years there. Besides my first year, freshman year I was here. Good old Columbus.
Yeah, yeah. Time out. Just a little diversion. ¿De dónde tú eres?
uh, de Santo Domingo.
Sí, pero ¿qué parte? Yo soy de San Francisco de Macorís. You?
No, de capital, manito, la
Oh,
ciudad.
okay then. All right. You know what? Dominicans, right?
We're Dominicans. That play fighting games. Dominicans that play fighting games.
Why'd you move out there, if you don't mind me asking? Why'd you do high school over there? That's kind of like, I never really heard of anybody actually going over there. Maybe your parents moved or something. I mean, if you don't mind me asking, that is.
No. We just my mom and dad just felt like going back, man. They just sometimes the New York life is so hard.
Ain't
So
that the
this
truth?
so they said, screw, you know what? Our two other kids, my two older brothers, they were already like well off. They were into college. I think one was in an internship to get a job. They're well off today, so it ended up working out. And one was working for the Board of Ed already. Like they were in 2019, already looking successful. So my pops was like, you know what? We're gonna leave you out of the crib. We're gonna leave you out to grow. I'll take these two kids with us. And yeah, that's how it happened.
Different
That's,
lifestyle over there, man. I mean, especially when it comes to video games. Although in La Capital, it might be a little bit easier to come about them. But let's fast forward a little bit from there. You come back to the States, obviously, and
yeah.
in a weird way, it was the same with me. Going back just a little bit here,
Yeah.
because I mean, one of the biggest things I was when growing up was wrestling, and it's just something happened where it's just like for a while there, 6, 7 years, I just stopped paying attention. You know
It
what I'm
happens,
saying?
man. That's
Yeah,
happening
it
right
does.
now with me with wrestling, because I thought I was gonna be a wrestling fan forever. But I don't
Dude,
waste my time no more, dude.
I try to pay attention, but I just can't. You know what I'm saying? AEW is awesome, don't get me wrong, but it's just, I
Yeah.
don't know, it's just a little bit. And I'm not one of those Attitude Era snobs. I'm not. You know
No,
what I'm
of
saying?
course.
It's just, I don't know. But what reignites your love for video games, or fighting games in general?
All right, so I'll come back from the I still play Guitar Hero here and there, but Guitar Hero dies in 2011, right? Because I even get six and I get a new guitar and everything, but
By the
that
way,
starts to die.
did you ever have any aspirations for trying out for the Guitar Hero national tournaments that they were having all over the places?
That's the thing. So here's the thing about
Here we go.
when you're not educated with the video game stuff, you don't know that type of community exists.
Yeah, no, that's true.
I would have done
The
it.
only reason we knew about it is because some random news network actually covered it.
Mm. If you
Well,
was
at
like,
least just a little bit, because you think to yourself, "Oh, this is awesome," but you don't know the bigger scope of this stuff, right?
no, of course not. So like, even when we were fighting games, I thought, all right, you buy a fighting game, you bring it home, you just play with your friends and your brothers. I feel like that's the extent of a video game. You're never aware that, oh, there's competitions, oh, there's a regional, oh, there's a major, there's a local. You're not educated, you don't know that stuff of that nature exists, right?
Right.
So like, for 2011, I think the last fighting game I actually caught, like I ended up buying, is Marvel vs. Capcom 3, Vanilla and Ultimate. But
Right.
but then it scared me. So when I bought Ultimate, I'm like, yeah, I'm definitely gonna fiend on this. They just put Virgil, they put more new characters. I think 3 weeks in, I said I packed it up. I didn't play that game again.
Why not?
I don't know. I don't know what it was. I didn't play it online because the thing is, oh, so here's another thing, right? At this time I was on my own, so my brothers had their own life and I was living my own life, and
Right.
that's not there no more. I think that plays a factor. That's not there no more.
The
Growing up,
companionship of your siblings, hey, bro, let's
yeah,
pick up a controller. Let's just,
let,
have some
let's
fun.
play. And then I felt like the arcade. So it's funny if you grew up on early fighting game history or just early fighting games, arcade mode is fun as shit. Arcade mode
It's
is mad fun, at least for me. And sometimes when you want to test yourself, let me put it on hard. Let me see if I could do it. So like I
right.
used to enjoy doing arcade mode on any game, like Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat. Doesn't even matter. Like I enjoy doing arcade mode. But then I was like, this doesn't feel fun, right? So uh, that gets packed up. And I lied. My last fighting game was Street Fighter versus Tekken.
Before you go on a sec, I will say one thing. Like you said, it eventually gets to you arcade mode where it's like, okay, this is boring. But I think that's a lot of people nowadays. They're missing out on the fun of just picking up the controller and just going into arcade mode. Just sitting
Oh
back,
man,
relaxing,
yeah,
knowing it's like, because all everybody wants to do now is like, oh man, let me get into practice mode real quick. Let me get an online mode real quick. Because I got to learn the meta and everything. Some people
yeah.
forget, man. You could still have fun. Single
The
player mode.
beauty of arcade, man. The beauty of arcade mode was that was key for me. Well, growing up, at playing fighting games, that was key for me. So that's what I think. I think right now arcade modes suck. They're not. They're not fun to play or to like dwell on.
Well, yeah, you're right because I mean, if anything, starting with Mortal Kombat, I think it was 10, and Injustice 2 especially. They
Yeah,
had these robust single player modes.
yeah,
Storylines and everything where you really don't need the arcade anymore. You have like this entire
yeah,
what's it called, like sandbox of
yeah.
like where you could spend so much time. But yeah, you're absolutely right, man. The magic of arcade mode is all pretty much gone these days.
It's gone. It's not. It's not the same. So like, I feel like the last arcade mode that was really good was Street Fighter X Tekken. Actually, I think that was like the last good
Yeah, you're right.
arcade because it was fun. If your point character was a Tekken character, you get to fight Ogre. If it was a Street Fighter character, you get to fight Akuma. And
Right.
like that was godlike. And then you had to deal with the Pandora versions of Jin and Shiaoshu. And if it was the vice versa, it was Bison and Yuri. Like that was cool. That's what made arcade mode was fun that way, right?
Right.
But then like arcade, so the ability to play by yourself wasn't there anymore for me. I feel. So I think I dropped video game entirely.
Like you say, you packed it up.
I packed it up, man, and
You moved on with life, and I'm assuming video games wouldn't like be part of your life again for quite for a few years, right?
damn, thinking about it now, like I think, yeah, cause I didn't play nothing in 2013. I'm trying to think. Like that's like my last memory of playing video games. That's Street Fighter X Tekken. That's my last time. But then I had a lot to do with life, you know. I used to work and go to school. I used to work and go in college.
Well, yeah, man. That's the thing. Some people they want to do this stuff full time,
Yeah, man.
but what a lot of people are learning is like, yeah, you can't dedicate your time full. Full. It's so saturated. At least that's what I think. So
Mhm.
of course, life gets in the way. You got to go to school. You gotta work because as much as we want video games to pay the bills, only like a select few people are able to do that.
Yeah.
Especially in this scene, we're not talking about Fortnite levels of money. You know what I'm
Nah.
saying?
I mean, I could put it to you like this: there's an actual 99%, there's a 1% in the fighting game community. You know. One of the things I told my mom when I was in the yard, because she knows I do all this commentary stuff, and I've been hired by Bandai and stuff of that nature. And she's very happy to hear that I have that type of exposure. And she expects me to reach kind of like this mountaintop. Of course, it's doable. I'm not discouraging anybody from trying. You could be within that 1% and make all the money in the world through video games. You know, you could do that. But I told
It's
my
just a
mom,
long hill to climb.
it's a long hill. That's how I told my mom. Especially now being 2 years dealing with clout, right? 2 to 3
Yeah.
years dealing with clout and shit. I told my mom, I told her straight out like this, yo, sometimes clout and fame doesn't bring money.
No.
It's just simply that. It's just clout and fame. The
No,
money
you know,
aspect,
dude, it's good that you have a clear mind about things.
no,
Some
of
people go in
course.
just completely blind. It's like, man, I can make a living doing video games and everything like that, but it's just like, come on, man, you got to come back into the real world.
You could
You
make
know
a
what I'm
living,
saying?
but you're not gonna be rich.
No, no, no. No, could it replace your 9 to 4? I mean, like maybe.
Maybe, maybe,
But
yeah.
that's a lot of work. Content creation,
Man.
keeping up social media. A lot of people always forget, man, that stuff is like, that's an actual job. It doesn't come easy. You
Yeah.
have to put in the work.
So like, I could give Bum 163 as the main example, man. That dude, I think he's insane with the work ethic. I think he's insane with the way. I mean, especially during the pandemic, he went hard, man. He went hard because he will do 2 or 3 different tournaments a week.
Right.
Which we're talking Strive, DBFC PS4, and DBFC Online. And mind you, he's getting the numbers.
Right,
You know,
right,
he's
right.
getting the numbers on top of that, so it's not easy work. You know, there's a difference between like dealing with 24 people than you're dealing with the 60 different people.
Yeah, ain't that the truth? Oh
And
yeah.
he's doing that weekly, right? So his Twitch is shooting. He's making sure he gets his donations and his subscriptions and all that good stuff. And by the end of all that, he still gotta go sit back down on that chair, set up YouTube, upload those matches that you just recorded that night onto YouTube. And let me tell you, I still haven't posted them on the gate.
Yeah, I know. I actually tried looking for it. I'm like, huh, what the heck happened?
I got the first round and that's it, and the seeding. But like, it is fucking hard. I even this tournament is over a year ago at this point. I still find it difficult to do that. Because the thing is, I'm not a guy that likes to sit on a chair all day.
Nah,
You know
nah,
what I
it's
mean?
a different
I work.
mentality.
It's a different mentality, man. It's a different beast, and like Bum tackles it extremely hard. That I just you can't help but admire it from afar. He works insane. And then there's other guys that are like that too, like the Kill Sage. Doesn't look right because the Kill Sage is so like low key with it. Shout out to
Right.
Sage. That boy's content creation game is godlike. It is very very strong. He streams a lot more often than you think. It's just he's just a quiet person.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
so he's heavy when during the pandemic. That's when everyone started getting on their content creation grind. And honestly, I think that was, if you think about it on a personal level, that was like the most successful time for an FGC guy to really break his name and get his name out there.
Well, yeah, you're absolutely right. Offline tournaments are no.
You know
It's
what I mean?
you have to do something because we're all relegated to online, and let's be honest, the majority of these games have bad online,
Yeah.
as that's been proven. So you're absolutely right. It's like, well, if I'm actually gonna try to put a dent in this, if I'm actually gonna try to make something of it, this is like I tell people all the time, man. It's like you guys got to look at it this way. This thing was a complete hard reset on a lot of people. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying?
Yep.
Like if like you said, if you're gonna make something of yourself, I mean, you have the opportunity right here because offline events are gone and everybody's moving online. This is your chance to build up an audience.
Let me tell you, man. A lot of people. I could tell you even. Let me just tell you my experience. So during the pandemic, I actually caught COVID last year during the start of it, but luckily it's gave me some fevers and chills. So
Yeah,
I'm one of those fortunate people, right? Like I may God not strike me now. It didn't kill me. I'm
yeah.
alive. And I can breathe. I can smell still. I can taste. Trust me, I can
Good
taste.
to hear, man. Good to hear.
So I remember like the pandemic starts in March. I remember as soon as the pandemic started, I hit up Cali like, yo, bro, we're inside. So a lot of people don't know this or just probably forgot. So I don't know if you were aware of Cali Mac. Me and Cali Mac, I think was the first. We were the first people to do an online tournament during the pandemic.
Oh, really? I wasn't aware of that.
So we kind of. I would like to believe, unless there's someone else. I don't want like downplay anything, but we started a trend, and we started at the highest level because when we used to do, so they used to be called King Freaky. That was the name of the tournaments, right? King Freaky. So when I started doing that, we only invited specific like East Coast players that were really good. So like it started with us, and then we did it for like 3 4 weeks. But after we did it, everyone started doing online tournaments. Literally everyone. And Bum kind of, I want to believe, I think Bum paid attention to the way we did it. He was like, okay, I think I should do it too. So like a lot of people forget that we were kind of like the trendsetters. We was the first ones to actually do online tournaments and
Right.
make it cool because it used to be invite only. So we would invite players from Boston, players from Florida, players from Connecticut. But we realized the online is shit. But screw it, we did it though.
Now listen, man, you gotta try, right? I
Yeah,
mean,
we tried.
you have to put in effort, even though the online sucks. I mean, people complain about the online today, and it's rightfully so. You know, like you shouldn't have this crappy online with the kind of technology that's out there and all the software. But then I also tell people, remember, man, like we were playing online like Dead or Alive 4, you know, SNK versus Capcom Chaos, and back then it wasn't as if we were all playing on GGPO. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you know what I mean. So, but we did it, and I think Nitro was actually the inaugural winner too. Nitro won that tournament too, man. That's where it all started. So
Let me
yeah,
ask
so
you this, man. What brought you back into the into fighting games, and was this around the time where you decided to venture out and find the FGC, or was that still forthcoming?
I stopped playing video games 2012, 2013. Sometimes I'll connect the PS3 to play some Guitar Hero. I was really bored in the house, right?
Right.
But 2016. Shouts to my cousin Manny, just to give him a shout out. Oddly enough, what brought me back into gaming was NBA 2K.
That
So
marketing got you, didn't it?
no, cause growing up, I was always I'm naturally good at sports games. I don't think it requires that much of a brain to play it.
Yeah.
Not to shit on anybody. I think it's still hard to beat your local hood dude. You know, you feel me? Cause he's godlike.
Yo, that's right.
It's always hard to beat him, but like I was always naturally good at. I was good at Madden. I was very good at Madden. I was pretty good in the show, and I've always been good in the NBA games. NBA All
were,
Star,
were you good at
2K.
NFL Blitz?
Yeah, I had Blitz for the 64.
Same here.
Remember the headless horseman, Carlton?
Yes.
That
Of
was the
course I
code.
do.
That was the password for to get that headless horseman, right?
Yeah.
Carlton.
Yes.
And I was pretty good at
That's
NBA.
right, yeah.
And then I was good with NBA Showtime. Like I've always been good at sports games. Like it's like a natural thing for me, right?
Dude,
So
NBA Showtime, that was the one with a character called Retro Rob, right?
yeah, I think if you typed in wizard, you actually get a wizard as a secret
Yes.
character.
Yeah,
He was
Wizard
godlike
and
though.
yes,
He
it
was my
was.
favorite.
You know,
He was my
Merlin
favorite.
basketball shorts dunking it on people. It's freaking awesome.
The wizard was that's my favorite character in NBA Showtime. He was godlike.
Yeah, for whatever reason, that wizard was everybody's favorite character. I have no
He was
idea why.
he
Kind of
was
like
so
how
good.
I don't know if you remember GoldenEye for the N64.
Hmm.
Everybody just wanted to play as Boris for whatever reason. You know, like you talk to people and you come to find out it's like, oh man, it's cool. I'm not the only one who's fiending to try to want to play this character.
And nah, Perfect Dark was better though. Perfect
Oh,
Dark
of
was
course. I mean,
Perfect Dark was
if you better have that expansion pack though.
well, that's true. We was too poor for that.
I know. It took me like 3 weeks to realize. Yo, wait a minute, hold on. You need the expansion pack to unlock the whole game. Because my friend Antonio would come over and all we would want to do is play the multiplayer. And then one week he just never came because he got stuck at work or something. And it's like, yo, you
Yeah.
know what? I never actually even touched the single player. And then I realized it's like, yo, wait a minute, what's going on here? This game didn't ship with no single player, and then that's when we decided to read the manual. Yeah, you need the expansion pack.
Oh my goodness. That was the red thing you used to play on the 64, right?
Dude, yeah, man, come on, man. That
You,
system was
you,
the
you,
perfect multiplayer system. Nobody cared about the single player then.
it's so funny though, cause like the red pack, that red thing will only come with Donkey Kong 64, if I'm not mistaken,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So if you own Donkey Kong 64, you had the expansion pack. That was godlike. I was one of them.
Dude, that expansion pack, and it's unbelievable how much it opened up that game. You know, and
Yeah.
you're absolutely right. You're playing GoldenEye. That's like the greatest game ever made. And then you see this game come out, and it's
Perfect
like
Dark
three
is
times big.
ooh,
Oh my god, that
Perfect
game
Dark
has
went
an awesome
crazy.
soundtrack.
Oh yes, that's definitely. I definitely want to revisit it. Remember Turok? Turok is like one of those 64 games I can never forget.
Dude, Rage Wars, baby.
Rage
Ra-
Wars.
Rage Wars was like the ultimate like twist shooter, man. I freaking love that game. And then of course I could never forget, you're playing Turok for the first time and then a raptor just comes up on your back and starts biting you. Yo,
Man,
yo, what was
cool.
the better game? Dino Crisis or Turok?
It's funny. I never got to play Dino Crisis, so I'm gonna say Turok regardless. But Turok was godlike. I just remember it being so
Yes, he was,
fire.
man.
It makes
It's
you wanna
like-
makes you wanna stream that run and see if I could do it.
Yeah, I'll be tuning in, man. It's basically a Rambo game with freaking dinosaurs. It's freaking
Yeah,
awesome.
literally, it's awesome. That was one of the good ones.
Oh man,
But-
damn, man.
but-
Bringing back the memories, baby.
Oh man, I'm a historian, man. I don't know if you heard of that. I am big. The other day I was down. I was able to get access to like a Super Nintendo emulator, man. Mind you, Super Nintendo has a lot of hidden gems
Yes.
that when you're looking for games, you're like, what the hell, this exists? There's a Yoshi Safari, but apparently that was a shooter game.
Yes. Dude, you know what my all-time favorite like little hidden gem is? Is for the N64. I don't know if it's much of a hidden gem anymore. I think people recently found it because of those awesome game done quickly events.
Yeah.
Mischief Makers on the N64
And what
is
does it
one of my all-time favorite platforming games. It's a little goofy animated, like anime style platforming game, but man, it's so much fun. Like literally, like if you ever get a chance to play, I don't think the game's ever seen the dawn of light in any other system. I'm pretty
Mischief
sure it's only on the
Makers?
N64.
What you describe it, is it open adventure?
Yeah, it's like an open adventure game. Like you're playing as this robot maid, and you just go around this like really cool, colorful world. And you see
Yeah.
this on N64 because N64 is obviously full of like Zelda, Mario, all the other great games that it had. And that little game right there, man, I could play that game for hours and never get bored.
Oh man, so like, I might have to see that out because I've been trying because I'm big on retros, man. I'm trying to get back on like my retro flow. Dude, I never knew Super Nintendo had a Yogi Bear game.
Yes,
It's godlike too, by the way. It is godlike.
Dude, I
Like,
think
I
I
was
played
trying it out.
every Looney Tunes themed game because I'm a big Looney Tunes fan. And
The Bugs Bunny game was pretty good too. I'm not gonna lie. Eat
yeah,
those pies.
I beat all those games. Sometimes I talk to James MK, and he worked in the gaming industry.
Yeah.
And he's like, dude, you actually sat down and played and beat those games? I'm like, yeah, was I not supposed to? It's like, he just shakes his head. It's like, yeah, we made those games purposely so that way you could, like, drive yourself nuts and never beat them. Like, that game Maximum Carnage?
Oh my god. Oh, with the that's one of the games I downloaded. Yeah.
Yeah,
That game is mad hard.
Yeah, I actually beat that game on a couple of occasions, and that's the one game I think he really wanted to smack me because it's like you're not supposed to play that game to beat it because that game makes absolutely no sense.
That
We
game makes
purposely
zero
made it
sense.
just to be hard. It's like what the heck? And it's an awful game, by the way. I'm not
You
saying
think
it's a
awful?
great
it's,
game.
It's so iconic because the tape was red. The tape was definitely red, right?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, the cartridge was red. Yeah, exactly, the tape. That's what we called it, the tape. But you know what was awesome about it? And let's be honest, the reason we played it is because like all these Marvel characters in it was freaking awesome.
Yeah, they had Captain America. They had mad characters in that game.
Yeah,
I never
that's right.
beat it, but like I just like got reintroduced to it like Sunday because remember I was just looking for games. That was the first game I downloaded. I was like, screw it, yeah, we're getting Carnage. And I was like, holy crap, this person was in this game, Captain America. A whole bunch of weird people. You know what's a great? That's one of my favorite video games of all time. X-Men
What's that?
and Mutant Apocalypse that no one talks about.
Dude, that was the one where you got
You can play as Beast.
Yeah.
Oh my god, what a
Dude,
good
I
job.
played that game and I ain't gonna lie, I never beat it. That game was mad hard.
That game was mad hard.
But yo, playing as Gambit though was awesome though.
It was so playing as Beast because Beast stage was cool and
Yeah.
that soundtrack was godlike too.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. That was a good game. Definitely was a very underrated game now that you
Yeah.
think about it. And you're absolutely right, man. Not many people talk about it. But yeah,
Ooh,
very,
that's
very
crazy.
fun game. My favorite comic book video game during that era was the Spider-Man animated series game on the Super Nintendo. I think it was on the Genesis as well. But
Yeah?
that one, you fought a lot of Spider-Man characters. It was freaking awesome, man. And also, like, you got help from the Fantastic Four. Like, they would give him,
Oh?
like, this suit. Like, it was a black and white suit, and it was pretty awesome. But that game was a lot of fun. Venom
Before
was the last...
copyright infringement, stop playing with me.
Say again?
before copyright infringements.
Nah, man, I don't
Screw
think we're at
Sony.
that level yet.
That's kind of godlike to hear that there was a Fantastic Four. There was Fantastic Four in the Spider-Man game for the Super Nintendo.
Yeah, they were like assist characters.
That's amazing. That's amazing. But yeah, like X-Men versus X-Men Mutant Apocalypse was like one of my favorite games. I even remember playing it as a kid. That game was so good.
Yeah, it was,
But
man.
but
A lot of
everyone
fun
goes
games.
back. Everyone goes back to the beat 'em up before that. I'm like, no, you gotta play Gambit. You gotta play Sidelock. You gotta play Beast. The Cyclops stage was always hard, man. I hated that stage.
Well, all you had to do is just blast him in the face with, his optic blast. But then I remember in those games, using the special moves of like with every beat 'em up, it costs
Yeah.
you life points, and it's like, come on, man, I just want to blow up everybody with optic blasts.
I'm probably gonna stream that tomorrow if I'm not feeling too lazy. See if I can finally beat it because I never really beat the game.
Oh man, yeah, that's so much fun. But going
Oh my
back
god.
to going back to, jeez, it's like I don't even want to go back to the topic now.
Nah, see, that's that. Then it means it's a good interview. It sounds like you're entertained, so I'm happy to hear
Oh
that.
man, dude, that's all what we're here for, man, right? Making people happy, getting
Definitely,
the
definitely.
getting the listens. But going back to the thing, you were saying, what was it that reignited your love for fighting games again?
So yeah, it definitely starts with 2K because me and my cousin we would hang out very often, sometimes on sleepover. And again, this is 2016, definitely 16. I'm still on the three. I use the PS3 for YouTube. That's my TV now.
Right.
I used it for just to watch YouTube, Netflix, stuff of that nature, right? He will start bringing the PS4 to the crib, and he will always have 2K. So playing 2K got me into the mix of things. And then the PS4 is just godlike for home streaming services. He will have Netflix. We'll somehow get a Hulu account, and then you was able to watch. Since the browser was so good on the PS4, you was able to go into those movie websites and watch some recently released movies. I'm not gonna name them, but that was a cool time. So like, seeing how cool the PS4 was, I'm like, yeah, I'm definitely gonna cop it. Definitely. So I was just had to wait till 2017 to. I was gonna wait it out because I was in college. If you go into college as a poor kid, you get financial aid. You get that little $2,000 per semester. So I said, bet. It's March 2017. As soon as those $2,000 hit my bank account, I'm getting a PS4. Because I just like the PS4 for the home streaming services and stuff of that nature. But then I noticed that same year, um, Tekken 7 was gonna come back out, and Injustice 2. So I was like, all right, so there's gonna be some fighting games coming out. Because any other like video game, I wasn't really interested in. Even though the very popular ones like Destiny and stuff of that nature, I wasn't interested in. So I was like, okay, Tekken 7 and Injustice 2 is gonna come out this year, and then Marvel comes out that November. All right, it's the perfect time to buy the PS4. So I bought the PS4, and then I got into Tekken, and yeah, that's how I make my transition back into fighting games. It starts with Tekken 7.
Well, you were playing the game, obviously, single player. Obviously, there's online at this point. I'm assuming you went
Yep.
online, you got swept, you got destroyed,
Oh no, I
or,
was
I'm pretty
gangster
sure you
Tekken,
held your
homie.
own, right?
No, I was gangster in Tekken. I told you that muscle memory didn't go away. My leash along was still good 20 years later. That boy still, as long as I could do down four, bat, I was good.
Did you said it was 2018. So what
Oh yeah,
made
2018 I got into it, yeah.
well, yeah, well, when you got into it, so but 2017, I guess you got your the console, and like you said, you played a little bit online. But what made you finally decide? Let me go offline. Let me go find the community. Did you happen to see a post somewhere? Did you stumble upon a website? Like what was it that got you to basically say, you know what, I'm done playing single player. My siblings aren't here to play with me. I need to go find a new group to hang out with, and just keep playing the fighting games that I love.
So it's funny enough. I don't know if this is a bad thing to admit, but I don't think it is because I think he's just godlike. So that same year, like I got the PS4. For some reason, I would watch Maximilian videos,
Hmm.
and Maximilian was like kind of like my first content creator that I ran into.
Right.
and his content is godlike. There's no other way. You ever seen the vid?
Depending on who you talk to.
Depending on who he's, I think is godlike. So like the thing is, he started doing the content creation. I remember once there was this video. You ever seen the video where he has to get the specific amount of points in order to fight Shin Akuma and Shin Rugo and Capcom versus SNK2?
Yeah, I mean, that's an old video, obviously, by today's standards. Like
Yeah, it's very
anything that
old.
happened 2 months ago is like old. But yeah, I think I do. I think I do remember that video. Yeah.
For some reason, I just came across that video. I was like, let me press click. Sometimes you're just that bored on YouTube, you click on something foreign and see what happens. I see this guy with glasses, long hair, and a dog. And, I need a hero comes on in the background. Like, yo, this video is godlike. What the hell? This guy is amazing. So I start watching more and more of his
I need
clips.
a hero.
I'm like, yo, hold up. I am sold. This guy is amazing. That, right? So I was into with Maximilian, right? I was into with Maximilian. So time goes on. Justice 2 comes out, not feeling it. Like I played for 2 weeks. I still haven't finished the story. Um, so I stick with Tekken 7 until Marvel Infinite comes out. Then Marvel Infinite is dying. Like I think I only played Marvel Infinite for a week, and I was like, this is a pack. And then I stuck with Tekken 7 again. Then Dragon Ball Fighter Z came out, and I'm like, okay, I like this. So that's where it kind of like started. So like we play fighters, and as we all know, we're all Dragon Ball Z fans. We love Dragon Ball Z. So I
Yeah,
was
you
like,
know what? As
cool.
much as people, crap on the anime all the time, oh, blah, 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 then Kai came out and basically, quote unquote, took a lot of the filler out.
Yeah,
As much as people troll on that series, let's be honest, everybody, that's the series we all grew up on. That's the thing everybody,
of course,
that's the
man.
standard for anybody who grew up at that time. And again, I mean, Fighter Z comes out, and for the love of God, Dragon Ball is like a religion in Chile, in
Uh,
Chile. So you could
yeah.
imagine all around the world.
Oh my God. I'll put it to you like this. Imagine you growing up as a Marvel's Capcom fighting game fan, right? Imagine you grow up that, and then you're a fan of Dragon Ball, and then they fuse the two. It's what you're initially thinking, right? It's like holy shit. Dragon Ball and Marvel's Capcom is one, and it's 2D fighter. It's not that bullshit arena fighter that they used to do. Well, after Tekken 3, because that was good. But like the Region Blast and so on, I was just like, there's no more of that. It's an actual fighting game. So I was like, hell yeah, I'm into it.
And
So
you know what? That's the thing, dude. Like you said, it's an actual fighting game. Especially
yeah,
now with the community, how big it is. It's an
hmm
actual fighting game. It's not that the like you said, those 3D arena fighters that they
yeah.
were fun, but it's not this game.
I think it
You,
reached its limit. I think either that or Dragon Ball guys, either that Bandai guys will stat up, man, because they haven't been fun for years. You know what I mean?
yeah, it's like something clicked finally, and it's like let's give them a proper fighting game. And you know what? The game, I played it a little bit. I'm not gonna say I'm an expert on it, but it really does capture the essence of the anime very well.
Very, very, very well. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful game.
So
So
listen, that's not bad. You jumped on when Fighter Z came out. I mean, you couldn't pick a better game.
yeah,
Like you said, everybody was playing this game when it came out. Marvel heads, Tekken heads. Again, it's Dragon Ball. It's
yeah.
Dragon Ball Z. It was hard to miss.
It literally if we now knowing what I'm knowing now, it really brought like so many people together. Like that was one of those games, sometimes it's a fighting game that brings everyone together. I think Dragon Ball was like I wouldn't say one of the first ones, but it was definitely one of the most recent ones that was able to do that because you had Leffen from Smash, who at
And
the time I
I
didn't know
think
none of
I
these
know
guys'
what you
history.
mean because I mean, sorry to cut you off there, man,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I know what you mean. I'm sure, guys like Justin Wong, those guys will always be multi-talented at every fighting game there is.
Yeah.
Daigo, PR Balrog's another guy,
Uh-huh.
and after that class of player, you have people, guys and girls who only focus on one game. This is
Yep.
their game. Dragon Ball comes around, and that is something everybody loves. And you're absolutely right. It actually brought the entire community together
Yeah,
because,
man.
you know, this is an IP, whether you love it or hate it. It's got a legit fighting game that's going to be in the fighting game circuit. And you're absolutely right, man. It really did bring the community together.
Cause like let's just look at one of the early tournaments that came out, the Summit, right?
Yes.
So if you look at the roster of guys that are there that got selected, and girls, shouts to Yohozi. I don't know what was Yohozi history prior to that, but if you look at Apology Man, he's an Evo finalist for Marvel 3.
Yes.
He came from Marvel, right? You look at Sonic, he's an Evo winner for Mortal Kombat and Injustice and games of that nature.
Well,
That's how
he's one of those guys we talked about. That kid is just talented at
he,
everything.
he's talented at everything, right? But his main distinction is Mortal Kombat. That's what he's known for, and RS,
And
right?
Skullgirls as well.
And Skullgirls. You got Leffy from Smash. You
Yes.
got Cloud from Marvel, right? And then we go to Japan. We got Goichi from Melty Blood. Dogoro was probably from that realm too. Fenritti's from Blaze Brew and Guilty Gear and stuff of that nature, right?
Yeah.
Kazunoko is a Street Fighter player. He's a Capcom player at the time. Capcom champion 2016, 2017, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Right.
So like, and then the biggest thing was seeing Reynolds playing there, and he's from KOF.
Yes. Big
That's
KOF player.
that's Evo champion. That's what he's known for.
Yeah.
So seeing all those people come together, it's just if you pay attention to the summit, it's insane how OD Dragon Ball was able to bring everyone together. There's 6 different champions and 6 different video games in that one tournament from 6 different communities essentially, which is KOF, BlazBlue, Guilty Gear, um, Mortal Kombat, Marvel 3, Smash, Street Fighter. Like that's godlike. It really brought like, and maybe that happens in every new fighting game, correct? But you know sometimes you see the repetitions. If you
Yeah,
play
but
Guilty Gear,
not like Dragon Ball did.
not like Dragon Ball, man. That was pretty cool. Like not me knowing what I know now, because when I first saw the summer, I was like, wow, these guys are just cool. They're Dragon Ball Z players. Me not knowing what they are or
Right.
what their history are. But then you find out like, holy crap, this one was an Evo champion, King of Fighters in 2013. Ronald. Leffen has slayed the 5 Smash gods.
That's right. Yes, he has. Yes.
Goichi was a god in Multi Blood. Lore Knight comes from Multi Blood. And Guilty Gear and BlazBlue, that's another guy. You know what I mean? So like that was just cool, man.
Let's talk about your Dragon Ball career. You picked up the game. You took an instant loving to it.
Yeah.
What was your first offline interaction with the FGC for Dragon Ball? Did you go to a big tournament? Did you just decided let me before I take that big step? Maybe you found bums a place, or was it did you meet up? Maybe you met up in some group on something online that with some like-minded people. What did you
Yeah.
do?
Oh, so when I went to my first tournament,
Well, when you first really encountered the FGC, face to face.
face to face. So
Because
so it was
obviously, hearing about it is different. A lot of
yeah.
people they hear about the FGC, and it's very true about a lot of things. What a lot of people do. They like hearing about it, but they steer clear of it as much as possible, or maybe they just don't have the
Man.
time. But what about you?
Oh man, it's so funny. So that's a very good question. That's a very good like analogy, right? So I was the guy that wasn't afraid to face it, even though I was whack. I brought nothing to the table at that time, right? So the first time I went to NOBC for the first time. So it's me and 2 of my college friends. One of the guys' name is Hussein, the other one's Wahid. Shouts to them. They're the ones that kept me playing Dragon Ball, right? And so we go to NOBC. When I go there that night, there's all the big stars of New York for Dragon Ball. Literally, all of them are there. Like it's Huck, it's Lord Knight, it's the Kill Sage, it's Nakio at the time. It's Maki when he's on the come up, and Maki and Double L. Double L actually won that bracket that day. I remember I went with my 2 friends, and I didn't care about winning or losing. I knew I was gonna lose. I'm not their level. These guys are freaking amazing at this game. I'm not that good. So like I knew at that time I was gonna lose. So like I just wanted to see what it was like to see competitors compete in a live aspect. So I get to see it, and yeah. So I ain't speak to none of the pros though. And entirely, I ain't like my first local experience. I ain't dislike it. Um, the vibe wasn't as fun. I ain't like NOBC when I went to NOBC.
Why not?
Um, looking back at it, at the end of the
Clickish?
day, clickish, definitely clickish. I will say this: the nice I got to meet Hook. Hook was cool. Um, Nico was god like me and Aaron. You know Nico Maki.
No, I don't. Sorry.
Nico Maki was one of the up and coming players there. He was cool. We're still cool. That's like one of my bros right now in the FGC since I got my clout up and shit. He's one of the good guys there, and the thing is, it was fun watching the tournament, but I didn't really get to meet nobody, and they didn't seem approachable at first. They didn't seem approachable, which is fine. You shouldn't be. You shouldn't come off as approachable to people in everyday life.
Of course, of course.
One of the things I noticed though, I'm like, because at the time when you see a famous fighting game player, right? And it happens with me now. Sometimes when people see me, they stay a little bit in shock or they're in awe. They're like, "Holy shit, that's Posy." You know what I mean? Like that. Oh man, I can't even tell you how many times that happens, and it makes me feel awkward because it's like, "Yo, bro, I'm human. I promise you, I'm human. I'm exactly just like you, right?" So for me, the cool thing was that I saw how human they are.
Right.
Everyone there is human, right? But they're socially they're not social people. A lot of them go in there and to do the job. And you know what? That's something I had to learn very early on when I joined the FGC. A lot of them
Right,
go in
right.
there to do a job. They're not there to be your friend. They don't want to get to know you. Sometimes some of them sometimes don't want you to be approach them and be like, "Hey, let me ask you a question." I'm not saying they're not approachable. I think everyone's approachable. But it's just sometimes they're not as friendly as you like them to be. I'm friendly. Not saying bother the shit out of me, but I'm friendly. You say hi to me, we could talk. Because I love talking to people. But like them, you could read the room. So it didn't come out of me to be like, hey, Nak, I'm Posy, nice to meet you. Hey, the kill stage, I'm Posy, nice to meet you. You know what I mean? And then everyone there just seemed on video game time. You know what I mean? I wanted to see the human side more, if that makes sense.
No, man, it makes all the sense in the world. Unfortunately, with this scene, it seems like a lot of people, and it's not, I really wouldn't say it unfortunately, that's just their nature, to
Yeah.
stay in their shell a lot.
Mhm.
I mean, do you want to say they're antisocial? I guess some are. And it comes off wrong. And your approach is completely different because I'm sort of the same way. I'm happy-go-lucky. I want to talk to people, and I can
Yeah.
see why it's such a turnoff when you go to these kind of places where you have the same love. In this case, is video games, fighting games, and so many people. Would you want to say they're standoffish? No, not really. I mean, maybe some of them are. Like you said, it's very cliquish. I'm not gonna say I'm the uttermost expert on Next Level. I've only ever been there 3 times, and
Yeah.
I felt the cliquish vibe in there, but it's a different it's just a different mindset, and like you said, it's kind of hard to get by that, but when you do, they're
I was
very
godlike.
welcoming,
Yeah.
and you get what I'm saying.
Yeah. So the thing is that some of them are very like some of the guys, right, that sometimes have like that social awkwardness, I guess, if you want to call it that. Once you break that barrier, oh man, they're the most comfortable people in the world.
Yes, they are.
But you gotta break that barrier with them, right? So that's something I had to learn early on. So that same week, I go to NOBC, right? Me and my boys, we agreed. They're my college friends. We agreed, yo, let's be tournament players. Let's be tournament players. Let's go to NOBC and then let's go to the house. So I go to the house, and oh my god, it's a whole different vibe. It's
I'm
a
sorry,
whole
man. I
different.
just love that. Yo, let's go over there and be tournament players. Then let's just go to the house.
So then we go to NLBC. It's a real venue, whatever, whatnot. And then we go to an apartment in South Bronx. We go in, and we're like, and I'm in love.
Dude,
I'm
no,
like,
we laugh, but isn't that crazy? When I used to go, now mind you, it's a completely different thing. But when I
Yeah,
used to go out to VSM for Mortal Kombat 9, nobody there showed that kind of attitude like you would see in some places like Next Level, because
yeah,
everybody in Long Island, that Mortal Kombat 9 scene, I mean, we were all very tight knit.
yeah.
Nobody went in there with that kind of attitude. It's very weird, but I guess I would equate it to like when you go to an arcade, like a really rough arcade, and you're
Yeah.
just in there, you're putting your quarter down, you're getting pushed around, you see all these like, just weirdos and everything like that. No offense to anybody out there.
No, no, go.
But yeah, then you get home and you're just, oh man, what a relief. What the heck am I getting myself into?
So it's funny. I was the wackest, by the way. My two other friends were here who saying they had all the potential in the world. I honestly felt if they would have stuck with it and grinded like I did, or just go to your local, right? Because
Yeah.
sometimes it's that simple. If you go to your local, you'll get good at the game. It's actually a thing. It's not. It's not to bring the player back. No, it actually happens. May take a couple years, but it happens, right?
But that takes a different kind of mindset, don't you think?
Hmm.
Where you want to say, "Huh, I could," I know I have the potential. Like you just said, your two friends, you thought they had super potential to
They were
be,
better than me, man.
what
I
if
mean, they
you
were.
if top 16 players?
So, I mean, they had the potential to at least be a good player at the house. That
Yeah,
means something. You know what I mean? That means something.
but again, it takes a completely different mindset, right?
Yeah, man. So like, I just graduated college. It's so funny. I graduated college. I was an exterminator at the time, and I was a little bit lost. I always tell the story like I was a little bit lost. I kind of lost my social gatherings because I graduated college. That's where I really was like my friends. And then you notice you're kind of a little alone in this world, man. You don't really got no friends. You don't got a girlfriend. You feel me?
Dude, that's life, isn't it?
That's life, right? And then this sits on your lap. Literally, it falls on your lap. Bow. There's an apartment in 5J with a bunch of guys that like a video game that you do. They just do it 1,000 times better than you. But then I went over there, and the social awkwardness wasn't the same.
Yo, by the way, hold on. Did you say apartment 5J?
Oh yeah, my fault. I wasn't supposed to say that out loud. That's
No,
the
it's
apartment.
okay. I actually wanted to bring it up because when I moved to Yonkers, my first apartment was 5J. Look at that, man.
Ah?
Seguimos, we're connected more, than we thought.
Oh my God, the house, man. So like when I got there, I'm like, all right, cool. And it was actually more common than LOBC.
Yeah.
Cause like everyone's just sitting there quietly and calm. I ain't gonna lie. When I went to the house, I thought I was about to go to some hood ass shit. I was looking forward to it though. Like hell, yeah, we about to go to the hood. None of that nerdy shit. Everyone here is gangster. They might not be good, but they gangster. I'ma feel comfortable. That's what I was saying. Cause the thing is, if you look back to 2018 and you see Bum having those sit downs, Bum a ugly dude, man. When he's having a sit down, he got some of the ugliest faces in the world. Don't tell Bum I said that, B. But he got some of
Mom,
the
don't listen to this. You know what? I'll mute this out. Don't worry.
Yo, Bum got some of the ugliest meme mugs while he's playing. He's a scary dude to look at. So I'm like, yo, if he looks like that, I know the whole house looks like that. So I was excited, man. Then I saw
Yeah.
everyone just
I just
just
thought of the
cosplay.
I just thought of the Cabal fatality where he shows his face and like the character's soul
That's
runs away.
I'm like, I know everyone's gonna look like Bum, and then it was calm. And then when I got to sit down and meet some of the players, um, I think VDK part of KPB.
Was he? To be honest, because I left the team for a while there because I had my kids and I
Yeah,
had my familia, and I
congrats,
was
congrats,
part
by
of
the way.
KPV during like the early days of the Nero Shell Casuals. I don't remember if VDK was. Maybe he was after I left, and
Yeah.
before I joined, but I wouldn't be able to tell you that. I'm gonna have to ask Rodney.
Man, so VDK was my first friend at the house, and I'm like, crap, that's all I wanted from NOBC. I didn't get that at NOBC. I didn't get to sit down.
Friendship.
Nico, I got to meet Nico,
Yeah.
right? But you know, that was good enough. That was me. I remember my impressions was I think Nico Maki's mad cool. And then I got to sit down and talk to Nakio a lot. And Nakio was really cool initially. Didn't care that I was whack, didn't care that I was this and that. I remember he even asked me for casuals. I was like the first person I ever played in casuals at the house at the time. So I got cool with Nakio. I got cool with VDK. I got to meet Alucard, grumpy ass dude at the time, but he's cool now. That's one of the bros. And yeah, man, like I got to meet Falsey thing. Falsey thing was at the house. Was the first time Falsey went to the house. I went to the house. So yeah, man, it was just two different vibes, two different scenery, and for some reason the way Bum did tournaments attracted me more. It was something that felt more to the ground as compared to NOBC. NOBC felt established, and there was something about wanting to support Bum because it felt something like he was really trying to bring up from the ground up. So that's what attracted me to the house, and that's what made me want to come back when I can, because I had work at the time, and he only hosted it on Thursdays.
Should it? And I've never had anybody here. I would love to have Henry Sen, because Henry Sen, obviously he's the owner of Next Level, and
Yeah,
he had a lot to do with Chinatown Fair.
yeah.
But should it bother him that his venue has that sort of like like that sort of character to it, because you're not the only person who's ever come on this show or who I've talked to. Again, I just told you
Damn.
about VS. Say again, bro.
I'm like, oh damn, that I just started.
No, I wouldn't want to. I wouldn't want to call it that. Like, because again,
Yeah.
like I explained to you, I mean, my time at VSM was a lovely time. The first time I ever went in there,
Yeah.
Phil, the guy who ran it, I mean, very welcoming. All the top players very welcoming. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes they would, play amongst themselves because we know these are the world travelers.
Yeah.
But you could sit down with any of those guys and they'll give you a set. Whereas with Next Level, it's just very cliquish. It's just, it's just very a lot of standoffishness. Should that bother a guy like Henry Sen, that we're all in the community together and his place, has that vibe? What do you think?
Should the bar Henry Sen?
I mean, because I think a lot of people also got to remember Henry
it's-
Sen's a businessman first.
Yeah. So he just wants that 10. You know what I mean? At the end of
I mean,
the day.
he's gonna have his his people there.
Yeah.
Again, he's a community. He's a businessman first. He's always been.
Mhm.
So I guess maybe it shouldn't bother him that much. It's like I think that stuff is maybe just petty for him. It's like he
So
probably
like,
just doesn't think much about it.
so in this scenario, like it's hard to speak for the next person, right? I don't know how Henry feels about that.
Yeah.
You mentioned it, right? Maybe the business comes first. Maybe vibes come second.
Right.
You know what I mean? Maybe making sure the vibe of the people that you're bringing in are well good people. You know what I mean? Just someone that's gonna not only make you feel welcome, but the next person welcome. That's something that I'm big on with the house.
Let me ask
So
you this. I mean, have you gone to Next Level? Do you go to Next Level often anymore, or is it only the house?
I've only been there twice, and
Oh,
the first time was the first time. That was my first local there. That's where all the boys was there, but I didn't get to meet them. And then the second time, it was a lot more fun. But guess what's the difference now?
what's that?
I got clout.
Yeah.
That's the difference. I got clout. Everyone knows me as I walk in that venue. All the Dragon Ball Z boys of that time know who I am. You know what I mean? And it's not to like, not even just to sound shallow, but this is facts. I I remember my first time coming here. I mean, Lincoln was cool. Dragon God was there. Dragon God was cool as shit. I got to meet Noah Nova. Noah Nova was cool. Axice was pretty cool that day. But like, I'm the guy with the clout. So like, now it's not a case of no one wants to talk to me. Everyone wants to talk to me. Sounds crazy, right?
Should we think? I mean, how? Well, no, not should we. I mean, obviously he's gonna get his props, but with Bum, where he's in the Bronx, obviously much closer to you, much closer to a lot of guys. I know Trent from New Rochelle,
Yeah,
Too
shout out to
Tall.
Trent.
Yeah,
Too Tall, shout out to-
he always goes there because let's be honest, that trip out to Next Level was just too far away.
Oh no, the trip out to next level was another reason why it was hard for me to go back, man.
Dude, let me tell you something. I remember one time it was me, Ronnie, Rage, and Afro Dynamic. And
Yeah.
I was driving the Next Level. We had a KOF tournament, and it's just, I think that was my third time there. And then I remembered why I hated going there. That trip, listen, I know it was the place to be for Street Fighter 4, for for the big Marvel games. Excuse me, the big Capcom games. But man,
Yeah.
that trip was just too insane. So props to Bum. A lot of people never want to give him props for anything, but he's managed to
Mm.
build a nice little community there where it saves us the trip to going to the next level. Not that we wouldn't want to go if there's a big tournament happening out there,
Yeah.
lots of people go, but the proximity to home is so much better.
I mean, especially if you're from the Bronx, even Manhattan. I mean, if you was to ask like Dragon Guy, right? He lives somewhere in Manhattan. Some would rather go to the to the house. I know people in Brooklyn that would rather go to the house than go to the next level. For some reason, it has a location that's just it feels like it's not even in New York, man.
Did the
For me, it's
house did the house split the Marvel community when it was starting to come up? Because next level by all means was the extension of Chinatown Fair,
yeah.
and that was where the big stuff was happening. But when the house came around, when he finally built it up, did it fracture the community?
And Marvel, well, that's hard to say since I wasn't from that era.
Okay.
But I could say, man, so you're asking me when Bum started hosting Marvel, did it fracture the community?
In the sense that, well, now you have two places. So which one is it where the top players are going to go? Or was it always just like, you know what, I'm just going to go over there because these guys are my boys compared to everybody else over there?
So here's the
I'm probably more closer to these group of guys than I am to the others.
so here's the thing, right? So like a lot of people probably don't know this. A lot of Evo players that are top 8 now, and that's in the history books. A lot of them came up with Bum. Bum was one of those guys that was like really opening the door behind the scenes. It will be his sessions that will be like the most helpful. This is something like I've heard from plenty of guys, from Ray, Coach Steve, Prodigy, and stuff of these natures.
Yeah, well,
If
like we said earlier, Hassan's a top level,
a top
top
eight
eight Evo.
Evo player, so like fracture it. I mean, does it mean that it killed the Marvel community in New York? I
Nah,
can't
I guess
say.
maybe I should have chosen a better word.
Yeah, I know this much. I know he produced a couple killers though. At
Of course
the
he
end of the
did.
day, if you look at that history, man, like I think for Marvel, right? I could tell you four guys off the top of my head that are evil finalists that come from the house. Right? You have Ray Ray, you have Coach Steve, you have Proj, and you have No Life. That's four guys that come from the house. One of them is a grand finalist at that, which is Ray Ray. They come from the house. So it's just
Wait, why am I forgetting? What's his name? The dude with the glasses. Is Flux?
Flux unfortunately never got a top evil finalist, but Flux won regionals.
Oh, I
They were
thought Flux
majors.
was a top eight Marvel player
He was
at
though.
Evo. At Evo.
Well, not at Eva though, but he's
Okay.
won bunch of regionals, a bunch of majors.
Hmm.
Shout out to Flux. It's so for me, I'm looking at it from a historical standpoint. I would say he added a different flavor. The thing with Bum, right? Even to this day, you gotta respect this gangster even if you don't want to. I think that's what gets people tight. You gotta respect what he's done. Like you can't ignore what he's done. For example, national champion, 2020 national champion, Nitro. He comes directly from the house. He doesn't come from Sonic's neck of the woods. He doesn't come from any other neck of the woods. He comes from a House of Chaos. You gotta start at the House of Chaos. That boy became Bandai national champion. That is an HOC representative right there. You cannot ignore the fact that that boy got his start and got better at the game at that house.
Of course, of course.
You know
Let's
what I
talk
mean?
about you when it comes to Fighter Z.
Hmm.
You obviously played the game. You enter your fair share of tournaments. When did
Yeah.
you decide that commentating was the way to go?
Alright, so at the end of the day, it goes back to that soundtrack thing, right? With just fighting games.
Right.
Sometimes a voice really brings you in too, just as much as the gameplay. So Yipes and Chris Matrix or Fripp, those two guys, man. Oof. Important voices in the FGC. Chris Matrix, I think, doesn't get enough credit. That is probably one of my favorite commentators of all time. Yipes is as well. Those two guys is what made me want to like, oh, let me try to be like them. You know what I mean? 'Cause you want to scream and be like, oh, and all that good stuff. So that's what made me want to do commentary. But like, I knew Bum wasn't gonna give me the shot because he had his commentator at the time and he had a list of commentators, and Bum just didn't trust many people. So yeah, with time, but in the meantime though, before I got to start commentating, I got cool with the house. So I was the whack 0-2 player, but everyone knew who I was. I got cool with people on the human side. People got cool with me because of just I'm me, right? It wasn't because I'm good at video games or anything like that. So like I got close to the house and stuff of that nature. So yeah,
Dude, like we said, man, that goes a long way
that goes a
because
long way.
genuine character like that,
Yeah,
you hear a lot of it is like, oh, we're such a welcoming community, but unfortunately, sometimes you hear way more negative than positives. But
yeah.
having that warm character that you have, that warm personality, it really does go a long way. It really does.
Nah, and it helped me. It actually helped me. It made me feel comfortable with taking the steps of commentary because I know, at least I know before I start, the house jacks me. Like just as a person. Because for skills, it ain't gonna be that. They're not gonna think I'm cool because of my skills. They're gonna think I'm cool because I'm a person. So I was able to like build relationships with everyone before I started commentating. It took me like 8 months because I got there in November and I think I started commentating sometime in mid to late June. That's why I got like my first shot and yeah.
And
But
by the
before
way,
that, I got cool with everybody.
this goes back to what we were saying, man. Because commentating in the FGC and video game in general is very saturated, you had
Yeah.
to work your way around. It took you 8, 9 months, but you
Mhm.
finally got it because, as you know, and a lot of people know, and a lot of people are listening to this show know, when it
Yeah.
comes to fighting games, and I'm only using them as an example, other communities, like the StarCraft and CS:GO, I really wouldn't know how, what kind of stuff they go through. But in fighting games, it seems that when people realize they can't be good enough to reach those levels as a competitor, they
Yeah.
always turn to announcing. Announcing always seems to be the one area of the FGC that's so oversaturated, at least from my point of view,
Yeah.
where everybody wants to do it, but you took the long way and you found your niche.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. If you break it down like that, yeah. Cause the thing is, what made me kept on going back was because I had a good time at the house. Winning and losing was not part of the plan for me. Like I didn't care. I just wanted to have a good time, and I love competition. And I just wanted to see. Wow, let's see who wins tonight. I just wanted to see it in person for some reason. I just love the competition vibe. And that's all what it was for me. So like I used to go and I just want to see people compete and see them do their best. And winning or losing wasn't a thing for me, so I always went for fun.
You
But
you went there you went there because you wanted to support the community.
support the community, and I was very intrigued by the competition, just to watch it in person too, and just to see what's it like when Random Theme loses and he's salty at his mind, or just to see Nak will be disappointed that X-Ice robbed him that night. That's what I used to go for, and it was fun.
Cisco, man, that dude.
That's my guy right there, man. That's my brother right there.
I love Cisco, man. It's like, have you ever? Is there more? Has there been a more talented person, playing Marvel or any fighting game he touches, but he's got the mentality that he can't do this full time. Could you imagine if he took it full time, man?
I think he's a talented person overall, man. And it's funny. I had Cisco over at my crib on Saturday, and we was just talking and just if he played Dragon Ball, I think he'll be a top 10 player. I truly feel that he might be on his way to France. But, he took the professional route. He went to go be a teacher. Shout out to Cisco, great dude,
Oh, dude,
great
really? He's
mind.
gonna be a teacher out in France?
Uh,
God bless him, man.
oh,
That's
not in
awesome.
France. No, my fault. I meant to say like if he would have been competing still, maybe he
Oh,
would have
okay.
gotten flown out to France because now Nitro coach Steven Pratt are going to France.
Wow.
Further skills for being so good at the game. I could see Cisco being one of those guys because he was so good at the game, so good. But he chose to be a teacher. He's a teacher now. So
Yeah, God bless him,
shouts,
man. God bless. It's funny. I remember
yeah,
talking to Cisco, like, cause he was like, he just didn't know what to do. I remember so many times he went to school for accounting and he realized he didn't want to do that. Raf, I might want to become a cop, but it's good that he finally settled on something. And God bless the guy, man.
yeah. They
That's a
got
really good dude right there.
the real good dude, 100 man right there. That's a dope man. So yeah, man. Like that was kind of like my path. And then Bum dubbed me twice, by the way. Bum said no, I don't want you to know. He dubbed me twice. I asked twice. One of the opportunities was the person that was commentating had to play his match, and the headset was just there. And I just tapped him like, "You want me to? Can I commentate with you?" He was like, "Nah, man." He dubbed me. I was like, "Nah, it's cool, it's cool." He's like, "I'm sorry, man." I'm like, "We're not there yet." I hit him with that. I was like, "We're not there yet." He's like, "Nah, man, I'm sorry." I'm like, "No, it's all good, it's all good, it's all right." And then Coach Steve came and kind of saved the awkwardness. I was cool with it. I should get dubbed. You know what I mean? I should get dubbed. I ain't proved my worth. I suck as a player. Why would you want, at the time, why would you want someone that's not good at the game to commentate your event? You want someone knowledgeable, right? That's always the key to commentary. You want someone knowledgeable. And so like he dubbed me, and then he dubbed me again, and then it's funny. This is a funny story. So are you aware of June NYC? Are you aware of June, HOC
I
player?
yeah, I believe I yeah, I'm pretty sure I am. Yeah, I seen his name running around.
So he started streaming at night, doing these Deegan streams, and I would join his Deegan streams. Me and June was cool. I was one of his first friends, and I was always there for him. Him and Falsey thing. We was used to just talk shit till like 6 o'clock in the morning, and like people would hear me talk, and then like, yo, you gotta commentate one day. So like June was building a little community, and at the same time, that little community, like they all loved me. They all found me like so cool, or like they found me like they liked my voice, especially when I yell or I get mad. They thought I just sounded cool. They're like, "Yo, you should commentate." I'm like, "I tried, but Buff dumped me a couple times." No, you should commentate. Like, and like Jeter and June, 14 and June will tell me the same thing. Yo, you should commentate. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't bumped up. He already dumped me twice, so the shame in me is like, I'm not asking for a third time, man. You know what I mean? Like, I'm already ashamed. I'm already happy with going to the house. It's cool. So there was one day. It was the tournament before DTN. This is 2019. Um, that same group of people in June's chat go to Bum's chat and they're like, "Yo, give Posy a chance. Let Posy commentate. Give Posy a chance. Let that boy commentate. He's good. I promise you, Bum. He's gonna be that guy. Give Posy a chance." So then I can remember Bum's response was, "Alright, I'll give him one chance. But if he's ass, I'm gonna let him know and I'm gonna get him off the mic." I'm like, "Alright, fuck it." Damn. I'm like, damn, I got a lot of pressure on me. But I said, fuck it. Cool, we in there. So it's funny enough, that was the house ain't the first time I commentated though.
Okay.
I commentated this event called Key 2. It was a qualifier for DTN. And a guy named Freddie gave me the opportunity to commentate the Dragon Ball Z tournament there. And it started there. And then I took the little bits and pieces I learned that day. I went to the house. And to say at least, Bum loved me instantly. He loved me
Yo,
instantly.
he's got gold here.
He was I remember when I sat down and like he saw me, he looked at me, and he heard me talk. He was like, "Oh, nah, you ain't going nowhere." I remember I commentated like I think I commentated Alucard and Super Noon, and I was gonna get off the next match. He was like, "Where you going? Stay right there. Keep on commentating with me." And like he actually took a liking to me off rip. Cause the thing is I was using this smooth sexual voice when I first got on the mic. I was like, "Oh my god, look at that super dash. Wow, what a 2H. Oh my god, this is so intense." That's how I was. So I was talking like mad smooth, like I was talking to a girl, man. And like he liked it. He liked the smoothness of it. So like
Right,
that.
right.
So that was my tryout, and then he jacked me. He liked me, and he said, "Screw you, I'm keeping you," because
All
he had no
right, come on, man.
competition.
He made you sign a contract or something?
And he just grabbed me by the neck. "Your mines," in his voice. "Your mines. Sit on the chair. Don't you ever leave," and bump fashion.
Yo, that's
So,
funny, man.
so yeah, so I become his guy after that, and I remember the following week, as soon as he saw me, I think he let one match pass, and it's these little bits and moments, right, when you're a commentator that it means a lot to me. So like the next week when I come back, he calls me personally, "Yo, come over here, Posey, come commentate." I'm like, "What?" Because Bum doesn't do that with the other commentators. He
Right.
doesn't. He doesn't personally call Steve or anything. He was like, "Yo, Posey," said that. I'm like, "Holy shit, he likes me. He actually does like me." Because Bum he doesn't do that. He doesn't go out of his way to make someone do something. You know what I mean?
Commentating the house, you got that live chat right there where anything goes,
Yeah.
and you knew this is what you wanted to do. How much did you have to change up your style, or did you just go with the flow when you decided to start commentating? Did you know it's like, man, I got to make these people in the chat laugh? Because, I'm here with my boys. They make me laugh anyway. And,
Yeah.
I've seen their style, but is there a different mentality that goes along with commentating, especially in the house when you go from being a player to now being on the mic?
So it's hard to describe it now because like me and the chat loves me, right? And I love the chat. But when I first started commentating, I wasn't trying to crack jokes. I wasn't trying to be the funniest guy in the room. It was almost like I was me, but toned down, like extremely toned down. Because I'm an eccentric person. I'm not gonna lie. I'm very loud. Sometimes I'm very out there. I'm very outgoing. But I was toned down, right? And I was just my cool, I guess my cool, calm, collected self. And that alone, the chat kind of jacked me. They loved me all in one now. They were like, "Well, I like this guy. He's cool. He's calm. He's not trying to be anything." I think they could realize I wasn't trying to be anyone other than myself. You know what I mean? And that was good enough for them. And then with time, eventually, the funny would kick in, right? The humor would kick in, the silliness, and all that good stuff. And then eventually it became one. The dumbness sometimes, because I'm an idiot. I'll be the first to admit I'm a dumbass. I'll be saying the stupidest shit. And like eventually all that became one, and now it is what it is today. Yeah, I don't know how Bandai hires me, but they hired me.
Dude, actually, I wanted to get to that, and let's get to it now. I mean,
Mhm.
Bandai comes along, and this must have been like, what? Like, what is it? Who's trying to hire me?
Ah, man, I couldn't believe it. Cause the thing is, unfortunately, I don't know why, man. I don't know why Bum gets that stigma. Maybe because he's from the hood, he's from the South Bronx. Maybe the way he looks. But I always felt like Bum doesn't get a fair share. Like he doesn't get the opportunities he truly deserves, that he truly works hard for. Right. So I knew, okay, I'm gonna be a commentator at the house. But in the back of my head, and I'm glad that I was wrong. I'm like, this is not gonna bring me opportunities, but screw it, I'm happy because of the stigma that supposedly comes with being part of the House of Chaos, or just being next to Bum, right? But I was big on loyalty. I said, screw all that. I'm always gonna commentate here. This is my home. I love this spot. You know what I mean? So I always felt like opportunities like such as the band that I could get in, and even just commentary regions that will never come to be. That will never happen. Maybe because I'm next to them. And I'm so happy that I'm extremely wrong about that. It's because I'm part of the House of Chaos that I got the opportunity at Bandai. It's the fact that Nitro and Double L and the Mini Assassin and I forgot the other guy. Who else was, oh, and Mama Lamba from Online, by the way. It's because they were part of the House of Chaos that they were able to get the opportunities that they got. So like that made me change my mindset about the house overall. I'm like, okay, this could be a thing. People are have to pay attention. I feel like they already should have, but now they're forced to. You know what I mean? And that's dope to me. I just felt like maybe I'll never get that fair shake because I'm part of it, but I ended up being wrong, and I'm so happy I was wrong.
What was it like commentating the national championship for this game that came out, and it has the whole fighting game community, the whole gaming community, in its grasp?
Ah, man, I remember being stressed the hell out because I got the announcement when I hosted the Demonic Gate that same day, so that was a great weekend. A lot of good things happened that weekend. But I remember I was a god. Oh, because by the way, I also completed a partner program, but I just haven't been accepted by Twitch yet. Those assholes. But nonetheless, um, I remember feeling stressed because of the weeks that I was put in to commentate the event. So it's me, Yipes, Acoustics, and Bum. So Yipes and Bum was supposed to commentate the first 2 weeks, and they were godlike on the mic. They were godlike. They really put on a great show. And then Bum Acoustics was on the third and fourth week. Not Bum Acoustics, I'm sorry. Yipes Acoustics was on the third and fourth week. And I'm like, holy cow, these guys were amazing too. And now I'm up. And you know, we're humans. We have insecurities. We're insecure.
Right, right.
And I'm just like, yo, how the hell am I supposed to top these guys? It's not a competition, of course, but damn, man. I say it to this day, I was the worst performers at nationals. I wasn't horrible. I wasn't dog shit, but I was the worst because Bum and Acoustics were definitely better. I think they presented themselves better. They made it more enjoyable, right? So my first week comes up. I'm commentating week 5 with Yipes, no less. That's my first big gig. My first big gig is for the company. Is for the creators of the game, Bandai, and it's with Yipes, the GOAT, in my opinion. That is the GOAT of commentary. There's no other way around it. And and I'm nervous like shit, man. And everyone tells me I did okay. I was freaking garbage that day, dude. I was just ass on commentary. Like this
Was
is not
they
my
was
best.
that just you giving yourself a hard time, or you
Yeah, it was me.
legit
That
thought?
was I really legit thought. And people would tell me, yo, you did good today. I'm like, yo, and like the feeling of being lied to. Maybe I'm still wrong to this day, but the feeling of me feeling like I felt like I was getting lied to, and that bothered me even more. I'm like, yo, tell me the truth. I was ass. It's all right. You know, I have another week. It's all right. I was ass. And then I will go on Twitch. Twitch is not berating me. They're not berating my commentary. No one's shitting on me. You know what I mean? And I'm expected to get shitted on because that's what happened with the other commentators. I'm like, oh, that shit is deserved. Like that's how hard I was on myself. I was like, I deserve to get shitted on because that wasn't good commentary. That was ass. And I couldn't find the berating. I'm like, you ever? That's so toxic, right? You're looking for people to be toxic about you, and you can't just find it. That frustrates you even more. You can't find toxicity. I'm an idiot. I told you this, Rafa. I'm an
Dude,
idiot.
that's a big problem, in the gaming community, in anything in general. All people want to look for is the negativity. You look at a guy like yourself. You're happy-go-lucky. You're very open, and look at that. You fell into the trap as well.
I'm
It's
not just
just
real
like, come
human,
on,
baby.
come on. Where's all the negativity? We're like, it's like for whatever reason you're feeding off of it. But it seems that you caught yourself, and you did a good job. Everybody praised your work. What's
Yeah.
life been for you after doing the National Dragon Ball Fighter tournament? Have you gotten more followers? Have you gotten more of a presence within the community as well?
I just feel after that, right? So I commentate the second week. I cried because I'm a little girl, and I was just like, yo, thank you for the opportunity. When I did that the second week, because the second week I was able to bounce back from the first week. I
Right.
remember towards the end, Yipes told me, "Yo, any last words?" And I really couldn't talk, man. Like I got choked up as soon as I said thank you to the Masters and Tyrant. I wanted to thank 1,000 people, but I can't even make it past that first speech.
I
And I
know,
just
but
started, as I just started choking up, and I started tearing up because I'm like, at the end of the day, and this is just real shit, man. We're from the hood, bro. We're
right.
from the Bronx. Like I'm from the Bronx. I'm from the hood. You could say I come from nothing. I'm fortunate to have the good family that I have to keep my head on my shoulders. But for me, that moment meant so much because with life, a lot of failure comes your way. You fail a lot in life, a lot. At least in my case, I don't succeed often. So like that was like the first time, like on some personal shit. That was the first time, like in my life, I felt like I actually succeeded in something. Mind you, I got a degree in math. I got
Right.
all this good things, but it doesn't feel like true success at the end of the day because it feels like accomplishments. Because I feel like there's a difference between accomplishments and success. I mean, you accomplish that. Succeeding is just you really just solidified something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, accomplishment in this case, you went to college and you got your degree. That's an accomplishment.
Yeah.
Success in your case was basically, well, this is something that I love. This is something that,
You know
I
what I'm
grew
saying?
up with. And look at that, like you said, for you being a kid from the South Bronx. And unfortunately, I know
Yeah.
exactly what you mean. It's just like, yeah, no, nobody
Wait.
really thought a hood boy would actually make it up to those levels. And
Yeah.
you're
We're
not the
urban
first.
kids.
Say
We're
again.
urban kids. We're kids from urban neighborhoods.
Yeah, exactly. And let's be honest, a lot of the FGC, that's what it's made up of. I mean, the
Didn't
Yipes
really
grew
pay
up in the
attention to
hood.
it. Yeah.
Exactly. We just didn't pay attention to it. So the simple fact that you were able to, succeed in what you wanted to do. That's what a lot of people in this community want to do. That's why they kill themselves to try to, be great content creators, try to be the next best announcer because they want to feel that high.
or just achieve that moment I was able to achieve. And I don't know, man. Like it's like I said, I've suffered a lot of failures in my life, man. A lot of aspects of my life. That felt like the first time I succeeded. So for me, I always believe that failure is common, but success is rare. That was the first time I felt something rare in my life. I felt success. I felt successful. You know what I mean? And that moment really hit different for me. And
So
to this
listen,
day, I always said like, if nothing comes after this, I'm happy with it. That's my finishing moment.
well, I'm sure you came back. You did your job. All the boys at the house, they were all happy. You got all your props. You
Mm,
yourself said you're doing a lot of streaming now. Are you
yeah.
trying to keep up with the success that brought you, or are you just taking it chill for now?
So like this year specifically, I started focusing more on work. Fortunately, real life was real still. So like it's hard to be 100% to this when you got bills to pay, man. You got bills to pay, and it's like I told my mom, and this is unfortunately one of the harshest realities about the fighting game community or just any video game that you're in, but specifically the fighting game community. Clout and fame does not bring money. It's not always gonna bring money. It is, but it's not always gonna do that. So you still gotta go out there and get it in real life. So like I even this year I feel like I took a step back, but the respect is there. You know what I mean? I feel like I'm in a spot where like I'm heavily respected by my peers in the community, in the house, and that's more than enough for me. So like if I do get gigs, I get gigs. That'll be dope. But like I think my job in the FGC is not done, but it's on a very good path, man. Because I got the respect from my peers, respect from respect from the people that matter to me. You know what I mean? And that's important to me. But I wish I could be 100% all the way committed, but I got work.
Well, that's actually the big question. I've asked it to a few people on this show, and I want to finish it off with this.
Mhm.
You just told yourself some truth right there. You just told the truth to a lot of people. And we covered it earlier. This is not something that you could replace. Fully a 9 to 5. This is not gonna. You can't live off of this completely unless you're that
It's
really
literally
rare.
it's literally 1%.
Yeah. So I mean, again, to close this interview, I'm gonna ask you, man, like how much longer do you think you could do this? You're still a relatively young guy. These are your boys over there. The FGC is is part of your family. How much longer do you think you're gonna be doing this?
Ah man, as long as I can, bud. I want to be 45 years old, telling kids you stop playing. I can for as long as I got a voice, man. For as long as I'm alive, I can't wait for Bud to be 60 and I'm gonna be like 53. Oh, he really did it too. I can't wait for all that, man. Like I want this to be a life thing, but I just pray that my interest in fighting games never dies. And I think it didn't, right? Because I thought it did. Then eventually it came back to me 5 years later down the line.
It's funny, man. You just said something. Our generation, when we're hit, we're gonna hit 60. Everybody else is thinking of a lot of things. The older generation is now passing by. We're gonna get to be 60. You 60, I'm 70, and we're gonna be probably yelling at kids, man. Why the heck did you do that Hadouken? When this.
We hope. All we could pray is that Hadouken makes it that far into life. That's all we want.
Ain't that the truth, man? Who knows where
Definitely.
video games are gonna be when we hit those ages?
God, I love video games, man. It's life changing. It saved my life. I will always say that
It
because
saved
there
your
was.
life.
Oh hell yeah, man. It has to because you gotta understand. Before I went to any local, I didn't know what was next. It was like the most oblivious time in my life because like I didn't know what was next. And then, bow, local, bow. 4 years later, everything just changes.
Well, listen, man, it was a fun, hour and a half, hour and 40 minutes, Posy. I really,
I
really
talked a lot of
enjoyed
shit.
the.
My bad, Ralph.
No, it's okay, man. Don't worry. Some people gotta take naps, right?
Definitely, man. It was a long day.
Nah, listen, man. I really appreciate you. They want to reach out and chat with you, or even when you're,
cut it off,
what are your streaming schedules? Let our public know here, man.
I'm gonna get back on streaming, guys, and I'm coming back with a retro week. Give me next week Monday. My Twitch is twitch.tv/Posy POSY 92. So it's POSY 92.
And listen, guys, man, I had a fun time with Posy today. You could catch the episode on iHeartRadio. You could catch it on radio.com, Google Podcast, iTunes Podcast, Apple Podcast, whatever the heck it's called. We'll have it up on YouTube soon for anybody who only likes listening to podcasts on YouTube. And Posy, man, again, I really want to thank you for this interview.
Thank you.
I really appreciated the time, reminiscing about the video game history. You're a lot of fun, man, and I'm hoping to have you on later on so we could do a Spanish podcast for all of our Dominicans out in DR.
Man, we could do this. Podemos hacer esto en español si tú quieres.
Exactamente, en español lo podemos hacer.
Si tú quieres.
Yo hice una con una mexicana y ellos les gustaron para allá. Vamos a dárselo ahora a la República.
No, mentira, es verdad.
Yes, I did a podcast with Athena MX. She's a Mexican KOF player. She's the top Mexican female player in Mexico. And in that region in general. We did it all in Spanish.
Yeah, man, I definitely want to do this in person. You let me know. I'm here, man. If you ever want to link up in person, we can do this in person.
Of
in
course,
Spanish.
man.
And we could definitely we could talk about you because I want to hear your history too.
Of course, man, of course. And listen, brother, it was a lot of fun, guys. Have a good night. Have a good day wherever the heck you are, and we'll see you next time, man. Thanks.
Man, thank you, Rafael. Be easy, man.
All right, brother. You take care. That was a lot of fun.
This has been a KPB Media Works production.